T had said that they didn't want to really talk about this anymore, but I feel like after watching the 3 videos, like, now is a better time than, like, before that to, have made any sort of video. My cat won't leave me alone. Go away. I have a list of, like, bullet points to try to help me guide through so I don't talk too long. But they're not in order, so if I'm just staring down below me, that's why. Because I'm trying to, like, figure out which points. But I'm going to mostly direct this video towards T, but if other people watch it and who are in similar situations, or like people who are really angry about it, like if people watch it and they're like kind of get more of a middle ground point of view in, then like maybe it'll help. I'm not sure. Go. My cat's very cute, but not right now. So I think one of the biggest issues people had with the videos, the first one especially, was I think there was a lot of things that were said that weren't coming from much of, like, there was a lot of things that were said that, like, were kind of not right, and I mean that in, like, the lightest sense. Like, there was, in the first video, one of the things that really bugged me most was that you kind of connected it, your gender identity, to, like, sexual attraction, and that is something that, like, is not connected. It's, like, sex and sexuality, like, not sex, but, like, gender and sexuality are not, connected as much as people think they are. I kind of compare it to, like, gender and sexuality are about as connected as religion and sexuality are. Like, yes, the two can, like, correlate with each other and, like, affect things. You know, that's part of what makes people people, and, you know, once two pieces are put together, like, they kind of make a whole person. But, like, they're not connected enough, you know? Like, it can affect people some more than others, but, you know, they're not the same thing, and they're not connected that much. You know, with that and some of the, like, other things, like, I think it just kind of makes people unsure. I mean, especially with the type of history that you have on the internet. Like, you're a big internet personality, and this is actually a really touchy topic, so, you know, the video is going to blow up no matter what. Like, I'm sorry that you didn't expect it to, but it was going to. That's just, yeah. Especially with the fact that, you know, you're somebody who has trolled a lot of videos in the past, and I know you know that, but, like, it's just, like, it is something that makes people wonder, and, you know, the trans community is very fragile. You know, the trans people have been hurt a lot, and it takes a lot for trans people to get, or to, kind of see things without those goggles on, I think. But also, like, the perception that other people have of the trans community is also a very fragile thing. It's very delicate. You know, there have been so many people, you know, before being trans was really known as a thing, and before it was, like, really, I don't want to say popularized, because it wasn't something that could be popularized, but you know what I mean. Like, before it was more of an accepted thing, and before more people were actually feeling comfortable to come out and stuff like that, like, there was a lot of media out there that wasn't for us, that was like very against us. There was a lot of people who had been misguided and you know, confused, and who would like transition and detransition, and like as much as that makes such a small percentage of the trans community, it was a very large percentage of how we were seen for a very long time. That, along with, being punchlines in movies and stuff like that. Like, I remember the first time that I figured out what a trans person was. I was watching I wasn't really watching a movie, but my dad was watching a movie on like a Sunday in the middle of the day, and it was like one of those stupid comedies where like about like frat boys or something, or like guys who were college buddies and now they were older and they were hanging out for the first time in a long time and they were like on a drunk bender. But like one of the things in the movie was like after they had like been hanging out and they got drunk the night before, one of the guys woke up in bed with a woman, but then surprise surprise, that woman had a penis, and it was like you know it was a punchline. It wasn't a good thing. It was very much seen as a bad thing, and my dad laughed really hard, and like this was like mid 2000s. That wasn't that long ago. And it's still like a big way of how a lot of the people outside of the LGBT community see us, and it's still something that really affects us. So when somebody comes out and they're not super sure about themselves, like, it does really make people worry, especially considering the fact that you have very clearly said that you're still questioning, and the fact that you do have those videos where you were trolling, and it's just, I think a lot of people worry about that stuff, about like how people are gonna think of the community as a whole, and there's nothing like to be said against you about it. Like, it's just how it is. So I think that's part of why people are so up in arms about it. But you didn't do anything wrong, I don't think. One of the other things that you said in your videos was that you, like, in your second video, you were apologizing, and I don't think you needed to apologize. And I know that you said afterwards in the third video that you were gonna apologize, but like, anyways, I digress. I'll come back to that. One of the things that you said was like that people weren't seeing you as trans because you looked like a woman, and I don't think that's what it's about. I don't think that people are really gonna think of it that way. I think it's more of just how you're perceived. Because you're ultra feminine, and then because you're still questioning it, and so like you hadn't said like, oh well, I'm gonna come out and these are pronouns that I want you guys to use, and like blah blah blah. Like, there wasn't like any effort towards to show like actual genuine feeling towards this way. It was more just like, I feel this way, and I don't really think I'm gonna do anything about it, but I feel this way, is kind of how the first video came off. And I mean, like, there are 3 different types of transition, sort of. Like, there's no, there's not one right way to transition. You can do any of these things however the hell you want, but there are like 3 types of transitions that are kind of looked at through like professional eyes and stuff. Like, there's the first one that most people do, which is social transition, and I think that's kind of what people were expecting. A social transition means you're coming out and you don't have to change your physical appearance, or you don't have to you don't have to, but it is connected. But like, it's not to do with medical or physical appearance. It's all to do about with how you show people that you feel that way. It's more to do with like having people call you with different pronouns or call you by a different name and stuff like that. Like it's more, it's the social side of things. It's on a plain definition. It's your way that like people, like it's the way that people look at you. The second type is physical. That's usually what happens next. People often will like cut their hair or change the types of clothes they wear, whatever. And sometimes it happens, like sometimes people start doing that before they even come out. Some people don't. It depends on how people feel comfortable, and that's totally fine. And usually those two are connected a lot more. But they are still separate. And then the third is obviously medical transition, which not everybody has to do all the way. No, not everybody has to do it. Even like there's no such thing as all the way. But if you were gonna look at it in that way, like not everybody has to do it that way. Not everybody can. It's different for everybody, and that's fine. But one of the biggest things is because once again, you're a bigger internet personality. You've got a lot of eyes on you, and not everybody in the trans community sees things as like openly. A lot of people still look at it in a very binary way. They'll, if you don't fully transition, if you don't go all the way, they get upset about it. And I think like you're probably going to deal with that for a very long time, and it's just going to be how it is. If you decide to fully transition, it might stop, but like you don't have to. And it's just what's gonna happen. It's kind of like how not everybody likes someone's music, so they're not gonna listen to it, or there's always gonna be people who hate on the music. It's kind of just how it is. Not everybody likes country music. A lot of people complain about country music. A lot of people complain about country music, but then you put it on and they sing along to the song because it's actually a pretty popular song. Like one of those things, right? Go away, cat. But like, I think it's really important. If you want it, go for it. Do it however you want. And like, I think if you take more time and you settle yourself in who you are, whether that's, coming more to terms with whatever your gender identity is, if you are more sure about yourself and you come back and you're like, hey, this is what's going on, like, it'll come off a lot better. And I think that's probably what'll help mostly. But like you have to spend some time and figure yourself out. You have to take the time to talk to people, and not just medical, or like not just medical professionals, or psychological professionals. Like, talk to people in your community, people who are around you. I know you said you feel really alone and you don't have like a lot of people, but like I know if you go to the people who you do know, like Gigi or Shane, and you're just like, hey, so with all this that's going on, like I want to try to like go by these pronouns, if you wanted to, or and you wanted to like try to experiment, or if you wanted to like talk to people about how you feel, like like one of the biggest things for me that helped me like sort myself out was talking to other trans people, and just not even just about like what they think I should do or anything like that, but just talking to them, talking about stuff that's related to being trans, and just like understanding their experiences as a way to like help reflect you on your own. like that type of stuff is really helpful for, or was really helpful for me, and I think like it can be really helpful for most people. Obviously not everybody works that way, so like if that's what it doesn't work for you, then like that's okay. um but like one of the things that you said a couple times in the last two videos was like that you were wanting to apologize, and that you were wanting to like, and that you like were changing the label to questioning versus trans because you still aren't sure about it yourself, which is totally okay, and you can still totally do that. But the way you made it sound like you were doing it for the sake of people on the internet, and I think that's bullshit. You don't need to do that. I think if you're going to do that, like, it just furthers people's opinions to, like, not take you seriously. And I think, like, it's not gonna help you in any way. The biggest thing that you can do to help yourself is help, or, like, is to, like, sort yourself out and to take the time that you need and understand yourself. And I think, like, I know that it's in the past, and I know that you have already done it, and there's no taking it back, but I think, like, if I were you, I probably wouldn't have actually posted a video until I was sure. Like, I understand that it was more of a spur of the moment thing from what you were explaining, but, like, still, like, it's one of those things where, like, I mean, this is coming from me, and I literally, like, took years of self-reflection to, like, before I was comfortable to come out. So, like, I'm a very cautionary person. So, obviously, like, I would have done something differently. But, like, even if you just take the time now and do that and you, like, sort it out, I think it'll help a lot. And I think, like, you'll definitely feel a lot better. And, it'll help you get the education that you need. And, like, just give it time. People will probably still be upset about it for a while, like, but it's still something that you'll have the, like, honestly, on a topic like this, there will always be somebody who doesn't feel comfortable with it, who feels upset, and there's always going to be somebody who is hard on you about it. But, I mean, that's life. It's unfortunate. But I think the more comfortable you feel in yourself, like I've said already, the more comfortable other people will feel about it. And it's not about their comfort at all. It's about your comfort. It really is. So I think that's part of why it's so important that you do prioritize your own comfort. But, part of being comfortable is also having people not belittle you and stuff. So, like, the more comfortable you feel in yourself, the more comfortable people will feel with you, which will then in turn hopefully help you feel more comfortable about yourself. Like, it's a cycle. So hopefully it made sense, and I really do hope that whatever happens with you and whatever you figure out, like, will really, like, I really hope that it goes well no matter what, and I hope that you are able to find yourself a little bit more, because one of the biggest things with being trans is finding yourself, and it takes a lot to do that, but it also takes a lot to understand, like, that side of yourself. But it's really worth it, and it definitely is part of what makes a difference. I mean, a lot of trans people are forced to do that no matter what, because, like, a lot of medical professionals won't let them start the transition that they want to start medically if they don't think that person is sure about themselves. and anything like that. So like it's definitely the big first step. It really is. And it takes time, and it takes a lot of heartache and a lot of issues with the people around you, and it's really tough. But it's it's part of the experience, and it's unfortunate. And even if it wasn't that people felt this way about trans people, it's very conflicting, and it takes a long time. Like you read out one of the emails that somebody said you, and they were like explaining that you know it takes a long time before you start thinking of yourself as the gender that you are. But it's, yeah, that's how it is. It's like it's a very set thing where you have to figure yourself out in order to make it work. But once you do, it's worth it. But figuring it out hurts a little bit, and even if it's just because you know it hurts your head because it's a little bit of a mind fuck. Like it's just how it is. So good luck. I hope everything goes well. Um, I hope whoever else watched this video is kind of understanding where I'm coming from, and maybe it helps them understand where Trish is coming from. I don't know.